Welcome to Raccoon Mountain Caverns and Campground in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Just about 2 miles from I-24. Its proximity makes it very convenient to visit all the attractions in the vicinity of Chattanooga. It has all the amenities for RV camping and beautiful scenery of Raccoon Mountain and Lookout Mountain. But this place has more than that. It has a very long history. It became a major attraction in 1931 when known cave explorer Leo Lambert discovered a cavern here. Yes, the same Leo Lambert that discovered the famous Ruby Falls on Lookout Mountain. But that's another video. Within a few years, it became very popular, and they opened a campground on the same property as well. And in 1964, they built a tramway and a large glass enclosed building by the entrance of the cave. This is where our story gets interesting. The tram ride went 2,800 feet to the top of Mount Aetna. That's what the area of Raccoon Mountain is called. We were wondering what these structures were going up the mountain. At the top, a replica of a Native American village was built for entertainment, along with trails that people could enjoy, not to mention the great scenery of the valley and Lookout Mountain. It must have been stunning from the summit. Around $750,000 was invested for the attraction, but in less than 2 years from the opening date, the bottom tram station was completely destroyed by a fire, and the night watchman, named Willie Cohen, perished in that fire. The tram ride reopened after a few months of rebuilding with a much smaller station, the same one you see today. During the 1970s, the tram would be very busy bringing hang gliding sportsmen to the top of Mount Aetna. And in 1978, new owners renamed the attraction Raccoon Mountain Caverns and Campground. But the tram had to be taken out of service in 1984 due to the increasing insurance premiums, believe it or not. All that survives today are the cable towers that can still be seen in the trees up the side of the mountain, and the bottom station with all the machinery intact almost, with the cable still sticking out of the station, where the tram will start its journey up the mountain and return with its passengers. And you wonder, whatever happened to the tram? Believe it or not, the tram is still here, abandoned to the side for years and just recently repainted for everyone to admire. That is something, survived after all these years. Imagine all the people this thing took up and down that mountain. It has this plaque inside that explains a little bit about the history of Aetna Mountain, which is Raccoon Mountain really, and since Leo Lambert discovered the cave, which was called Crystal Cave back then. Today, Raccoon Mountain Caverns. But only after the discovery of the cavern, years later, the idea came of this tram to go up the mountain. And the cave is right below it. And now you know the rest of the story. But the story doesn't end quite yet. This was so intriguing. Someone told us that there is a trail going up the mountain, and we can actually see the towers on our way up. So we decided to see if we could make it, and we start our trail.
Look at the cat, it's following you. Right there. He's following you. Look.
So this cat out of nowhere, he just decided to follow us. Actually, he tested us first to see if we were friendly.
See the tower yet? That's just the first tower. Further up, there's another one.
That's where the box should go on that wire?
Well, every so often, you gotta have a tower or the wire sags. So that goes under and it continues.
We made it to the first tower. This thing is huge.
Yeah, keep going.
Still standing after all these years. This cat was so funny.
Come on, you want to go on the tower? Look, he knows how to get up there, look. You know, they used to have lights around this pole? Look at the sockets.
We continued up the mountain, and what felt like another half a mile or so.
I don't see him.
And we got to the second tower. It looks pretty much the same as the other one. One more tower before the top station. You can imagine how far we have to go. I don't think we'll ever make it.
Oh, so... You want water?
He accompanied us through the whole way. Very curious. At some points, it looked like he was telling us not to go any further. The more we went up, the steeper it got. We got about halfway to the third one, but it was getting very steep. Too tired and too late in the day. You can see some electrical poles and wires going up the mountain here. We gave up, but the kids went back up the next day, and they said it was epic. At a certain point, they used a rope to get all the way up to the tip.
Ready to go back?
They said they seen an old structure up there, right about where the end of the cable. There's a big tower there with the end of the cable, and an abandoned building right next to it, so that might have been the old top station. Would have loved to see that. Well, it was a good try. We got to see the towers anyway, and how steep it is going up there. It was really fun. And it was unbelievable the way this cat just followed us the whole way. Now we pretty much know the whole story. The towers and the village ruins on top of Mount Aetna that are still there today. Signs of yesterday of the beautiful village that once was above Raccoon Mountain.